I switched my addiction to food. And I gained over the next 10 years. I was always a big kid, about 220 pounds, solid ranch kid, bucking hay, dealing with cattle and working on tractors and all that kind of stuff. But I had gained a massive amount of weight up until my highest point in 2008. I was 570 pounds. And I go to the doctor. I'm in congestive heart failure. I have kids of my own now. My wife and I are going. I'm having trouble breathing. And we go to the doctor, and he says, I give you 6 months. I said, 6 months for what? He says, to live. And I went, whoa, wait a minute, man. I don't see a toe tag or an expiration date like I was telling you. And he goes, Mr. Shaw, this is no laughing matter. I look over at my wife, and I go, man, she's crying. Instantly, it became my guilt. I did this to me. I had to wake up to myself and go, nobody made the sandwich that made me fat. Nobody cooked that way to make me fat. Nobody held a knife or a gun to my throat and made me eat the spaghetti. I had to look in the mirror and go, what am I going to do? I'm leaving my kids like this.
How long were you at that weight?
I was over 400 pounds for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So I blew up, and then just, but the last 2 years were the hardest because I gained up to 570. It was my heaviest. I had a 78-inch waist. I wouldn't even be able to sit in this chair. I was telling my girlfriend the other day, I said, listen, I remember sitting in a church chairs, those little metal folding chairs, and put one on each cheek and still bending them like pretzels.
Oh, wow.
570 pounds. A couch like that, I broke probably 7 of those couches. Sit on the couch, you get up, he's got this 2x4, and you push to get up, boom, the 2x4 snaps.
Holy cow.
About 7 of those. So
you're in the doctor's office, you're looking at your wife crying.
I tell you what.
Coming to this realization.
That's when it really shook me up. And the mirror moment where I went home after that, I'm looking in the mirror. First of all, we prayed and said, God, I need your help. The story was, I asked the doctor, I said, well, what can I do? And he said, what have you done? I said, I've tried Jenny Craig, Jimmy Crack Corn, every late night pill across the TV. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on every little fad diet, starting at Fin all the way up. And he says, well, go home and prepare to die. And he walked out of the office.
Oh,
that's when I looked over at my wife, and I go, she's crying. That's when it all dawned on me and came on to me like, oh my God, I did this to myself.
He just walked right out of the room.
He said, go home and prepare to die, and walked out of the little doctor cubicle.
You think he did that for like a shock value?
I'll tell you what, a lot of people that I've told this story to have said, shame on him. I'm thankful that he did that because I needed that hard slap in the face.
Yeah.
I really did. It was like a mule kicking me into motivation. And I said, I got to do something, man. So we cry out to God together, my wife and I at the time. And I'm running a little plumbing company out of my house, sitting in a wheelchair, rolling back and forth to the file cabinet, the desk, the phones, doing phone curls, doing $1 million a year at a little plumbing company off the phone. And this guy pulls up in front, because I had a little plumbing sign in front of my house, and knocks on my door. He says, hey, I want to buy your scrap copper. I said, I don't sell it. We use it for our barbecue once a year for all the employees and stuff, and we just keep it for that. Money in the bank. He said, I'll give you top price. Whatever they give you, I'll pay you, and you don't even have to load it, sort it. I'll take it all. I said, I told you we don't sell it, man. I told you what we use it for. Well, all right. Can I share something with you without embarrassing you? He said to me. I said, oh, here we go. I knew he was going to approach my weight issue or something, I just felt it. And I'm like, let me get rid of this guy. Okay, go ahead. And he goes, I just want to share how I lost 100 pounds. I said, dude, save it. I said, I could lose 100 pounds if I push hard enough in the bathroom this morning. I have to lose 350 pounds. It wasn't a reality to me at that point to look at the monster and say, how am I going to get to my goal from here? It's like, how do you eat an elephant?
One leg at a time.
One bite at a time,
Yep.
man. You got one chew at a time. I tell addicts when they're dealing with addiction, I said, you guys, you try to take it one day at a time. I said, there's too many minutes in the day. There's 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour. I said, you take it one thought at a time, because that's where you make the decision to blow it. Not at 3:00 tomorrow afternoon.
Right.
Right now, when you're saying, no, I'm not. I'm at that wrestling match, that one thought, that's when you got to take it. So I had to approach my weight the same way.
So you're talking to this guy.
I talk to this guy and I hear him out. I'm going, okay, 9 days ago I prayed that God would help me. Here's this guy knocking on my door to buy my scrap copper, and I'm sending him away, and he wants to tell me how he lost 100 pounds. So I go, okay, let's hear it. So he breaks it down to me. I went on this much protein and this much and under this much sugar and under this much carbs. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, this is the Atkins diet, because I went on that too. And I lost 60 pounds and gained 80. And you go on these fad diets and you go up and down and yo-yo. They're not lifestyle maintainable programs that you can, exist on for the rest of your life. This is how I'm going to live my life, on this Atkins diet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The carnivore diet's a little better because you can do other things, and but I was, so I went through all those fads and phases of diets, and gone up and down, and every time I ended up heavier than when I started. So I pretty much given up, and it was obvious I was 570 pounds. So the guy breaks it all down to me. He says, and call this doctor. He's my nutritionist. He'll get you on a program where they monitor you. And once you start losing weight real fast, they want to make sure you're not losing your building blocks. They want to make sure you're mineralizing, taking vitamins. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm never going to make this. So he left. I go, thanks, appreciate it. Have a good day. And he left. I never saw him before, and I never saw him again. But I did call him, and I had his number later down the road. So I call his doctor, and the receptionist gets all my information and says, hey, would you like to come in and be on our program? I said, yeah, well, that's why I'm calling you guys. And she said, well, I'll put you on the waiting list. I said, the waiting list? How long's the waiting list? She said, it's about a year.
Oh, geez.
I said, ma'am, this other doctor told me I got 6 months. I said, what am I going to do, man? I said, this is like calling suicide prevention and being put on hold. That's 6 months. My family's looking at me going, Dad, what are you going to do? Honey, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? Do you want to go on the waiting list or not, sir?
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Like, I got another call coming kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
I go, yeah, just put me on there. Thanks. Click. Hang up the phone. I look over at my wife. We both start crying again. I'm going, God, I don't know what to do. It was one of those moments again. If you're listening to me, I don't have any other option of crying out to anybody else. Please hear me. I don't know what to do. The next day, that doctor's office called me. We had somebody drop out of our program. Would you like to come in this Friday? I said, you bet I would, man. Let's go. So I went down there, and they broke this whole thing down to me. They said, well, you're 570 pounds. You're too heavy for weight loss surgery, because they did that too. They said, because you're a risk on the table.
Oh,
so
right.
So what you'll have to do if you want to be a candidate for that is you'll have to lose 100 pounds first. I'm thinking, how do I lose 100 pounds first? Before 6 months, before the expiration tag goes up on my deal, because now I'm believing what this doctor told me, and everything I turn to is a dead end. I'm feeling pretty hopeless at this point. And so they give me this whole little booklet, and this is how you eat, and they're training you how to do this, and journal, and all this stuff. And I go on it trying to lose this 100 pounds to try to have weight loss surgery. And everything they said in this little book, I doubled it. The movement for exercise, I doubled it. I can't move outside the pool, so I'm going to get my ass to the pool and float like a hippo in his own element. And I went into that pool with these little old ladies. They're in their 70s to 90s, and they were doing water aerobics. The first time I went, I sat in the corner and watched them. I said, I think I can hang with these gals. And the next time I joined the class and I got in there and I was the only guy in the class. So they're all flirting with me, this, come on. And if I didn't show up, I was more scared of those little old ladies calling me going, where were you today, fatty? I'm serious, man.
Were they talking to you like that?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, nice.
They took me under
That's
their
good.
wings.
Heck
Where were
yeah.
you today, fatty? I thought you were going to do this.
Oh, wow.
And so I was more committed, not to myself at that point. I was more committed to not letting them down.
Yeah.
And I would show up for class. And here's the other thing. The class was only an hour long. Remember I said I doubled everything. Well, after their class, there was an hour of free swim, but there was 15 minutes of everybody out of the pool. We're going to clean up the pool area, and then we start the free swim time. Well, I couldn't get out of the pool because there was a ladder, no stairs, and my body wouldn't fit through that ladder. I'd get up on the third rung. I can't get my body through the ladder to get out of the pool. And I'd try to climb over it, and I just couldn't get out of the pool. In the shallow end, the only way I can get out is to put my shoulder out, try to lift the leg up, and then roll out like a big whale.
Oh.
And,
wow.
I'm a 7X t-shirt, 78-inch waist. I got Omar's tent and awning making me shorts. You know what I mean? There's 7X. So, you're rolling out of the pool and you could slip a ball out or something. You don't want to show, ma'am. Sorry, could you look the other way? I'm going to get out of the pool now. So I waited for all these little ladies to clear the pool so I could privately get out and keep my dignity.
Yeah.
And go and take my shower and go on my day and start the plumbing company up and do. But that was 5 days a week. I would show up to their little water aerobics because if I didn't, they would hunt me down. And so I didn't only stay their hour for their class. I stayed an extra hour so I could get it free and get out of the pool. So I stayed moving that extra hour. And what I did at first is I went on, I'm going to give you the keys. Listen up, guys. I'm going to give you the keys. I went on 140 to 160 grams of protein, which that's sketchy because you can only metabolize 25 to 32 at a time. So if you eat too much, you're just wasting it. It's not doing you any good. And the protein is firing up your fat burning factory, which is your liver. And that process is called ketosis, as you know, in the carnivore diet or the Atkins diet. So I got these little strips. You pee on them, keto strips. Every morning, same time. And if they don't have any color on them, you're cheating somehow. You got to adjust your deal. So I would journal everything I put in my mouth. I don't care if it was a lollipop or a piece of gum. I'd journal it. Kiss my wife after she took a sip of sugared coffee. Put it in your journal. So I kept this little notepad in my pocket. I kept it in my journal, everything I put in my mouth, I don't care what it was. I would put it in the journal. That held me be accountable to myself to go, oh, I forgot I ate that. Oh, yeah, I was walking by and grabbed a handful of chips. Oh, I grabbed this, I did that. Oh, well, there's the carbs I didn't count. So it helped me really be accountable to understanding the food groups and how they come into you. What are your protein sources? What are your carb sources? What are your sugar sources? So here it is from the top: 140 to 150, 160 grams of protein, under 60 grams of carbs, and under 20 grams of sugar, and use fruit sources, high fiber like strawberries, things like that for my sugar sources. Now, you can only metabolize that 25 to 32 grams of protein at a time, so I set my alarm clock on my phone every 2 to 3 hours to remind me to eat because I had to stretch that 140 grams into the whole day.
Right.
And give my factory time to metabolize it instead of just mass wasting it out the backside. And so that broke the binge eater in me. I was never hungry. I had to make myself eat. My alarm went off. I go, dadgummit, I'm not hungry. Well, you have to have protein. A couple hard-boiled eggs, piece of chicken, a protein shake, protein bar. You have to have something for your little 28 to 32 gram boost throughout the day. And that broke the binge eater in me. After that, I just have never been a grazer of just eating, binge, and go to bed, Don't eat breakfast, don't eat lunch, binge it, eat all I want for dinner, and go to bed and sleep with it and store it all. That puts your liver in storage mode. Well, it takes 9 to 14 days to get your liver into ketosis where it's burning fat. So most people that try like the Atkins diet, the carnivore diet, they go for 8, 9, 10 days and they go, I don't see no results. Screw it, man. Give me a sandwich. Give me a piece of cake. I will kill for a piece of bread right now.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know that feeling.
I know that feeling well.
You know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
I just give me one piece of bread, you know, a lollipop, something. Your body's crying out. So I ended up losing on that program 345 pounds in 390 days. And I took vitamins A, D, E, K, and multivitamins and mineralized the whole time I was doing it, and had doctors monitoring my blood work going, man, how are you doing this? You know, and then I went in for a hernia surgery after I lost the weight. I went in for a hernia surgery, lifted a water heater, and busted my umbilical hernia.
How much weight did you lose?
I lost 345 pounds.
345.
I went from 570 down. I lost 345 pounds in 390 days, so a year and a month.